Relatives call for arrest of policemen. Australia assists PNG ports with 1.5 billion kina. And 5 more days before baton arrives.
This is National EMTV News with Dennis Orere.
Good evening and welcome. This is Saturday's news. The Teaching Service Commission, or TSC, has nullified new teachers' appointments that were made by the Madang Provincial Education Board for the 2022 academic year. By law, TSC has the power to appoint, promote or discipline teachers in the teaching service. This move, however, has created confusion among teachers.
The Teaching Service Commission has directed the Provincial Education Board to post all teachers back to their previous postings in 2021, meaning teachers will remain in their postings this year. The Assistant Director for TSC in Momase explains further.
MPR was not done properly. The positions were advertised wrongly to new schools, have more positions, and that's why when the PEB subcommittee had a meeting not comprising to the members that is authorized and signed by the Minister for Education under Section 27 of the Education Act. The membership, the subcommittee members did not sit in for the appointment committee. Teachers' representative was not there. Church representation was not there. As I am based here in Madang, I was not even invited for the appointment committee. So that's why we see that our teachers will be badly affected. So the Provincial Education Board took the initiative to not to accept the appointment and recommended to the Teaching Service Commission to nullify this appointment.
The Assistant Director says all teachers must resume on the 24th of January 2022 on the positions they previously held.
That's why I'm here to make it very clear to the people of Madang. We are sorry that this has happened. It has happened administratively, and we will correct that. And all teachers who were posted in one must resume on the 24th of January 2022 on the positions they have been appointed to in 2021.
TSC will only be concerned on those teachers that are retired, resigned and teachers who transferred out of the province. Martha Lewis, National EMTV News, Madang.
The Australian government has stepped in to support PNG Ports Limited to help rehabilitate various port infrastructures in the country. An infrastructure financial agreement worth over 1.5 billion kina was signed between the governments of Australia and PNG yesterday. The funding will help PNG Ports realize the objectives set out in its 30-year infrastructure master plan.
Staff from PNG Ports Corporation and stakeholders all gathered to witness the significant signing ceremony. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison joined virtually to sign the infrastructure financial agreement with Prime Minister James Marape. The agreement paves way for the Australian government to support PNG Ports Corporation with over $435 million, which is equivalent to over 1.5 billion kina. This funding will be used to rehabilitate various port infrastructures in the country.
Thanks once again to the people of Australia. We've now been able to reach agreement with the Australian government to secure market sum of $435 million to help us rebuild our very important infrastructure.
Most port infrastructures in the country were established before independence, with most ports in need of rehabilitation. With limited resources, not much has been done to rehabilitate these infrastructures. Prime Minister James Marape says his government is working on ensuring their enabling infrastructures to support the economy. And better port infrastructures will pave way for more trade opportunities for both countries.
It's time for you to pick enabling infrastructure consistent with my government's overview in the economy. We are trying to ensure we have enabling infrastructures that sustain our economy now and going forward into the future. Port ranks the top of our priority. Without good ports, our exports will not be possible. Without good ports, our imports will not be possible.
The Prime Minister further thanked the government and the people of Australia for their continuous support. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison also joined virtually to congratulate PNG Ports in this partnership. He says Australia is committed to support Pacific Island countries in their development aspirations.
And I want to commend the Ports Corporation on their work. Infrastructure strengthens economies, creates the conditions for long-term jobs growth. Bigger ports means greater access to global trade opportunities.
This funding from the Australian government will be used to develop 5 major port infrastructures in the country. This includes the Lake Tidal Basin project in Morobe province.
This $430 million will be put to good use. As most of us know, we really need to do a lot of work in a very important port of Lake. So the Lake Tidal Basin project will receive about $120 million.
Rayon Lakingu National, EMTV News.
Rabaul MP and opposition man Dr. Alan Marat has expressed concerns over the non-completion of the census exercise. Dr. Marat says census is crucial information to update the common roll before the national general elections. He expressed his concerns on the floor of Parliament this week and demanded answers from Prime Minister James Marape.
With the national general elections looming, the Rabaul MP questioned the accuracy of the current common roll. He says the absence of a reliable census will cause injustice during voting. Dr. Marat questioned who will be eligible and what are the updated figures.
Can the Prime Minister tell this House what the official population is for Papua New Guinea? Secondly, Mr. Deputy Speaker, of that population, what is the number of eligible voters in the country?
The opposition stronghold further stated that many are concerned that the census exercise is not properly conducted despite the elections happening after 5 years. Dr. Marat directed his questions to the Prime Minister.
Now that the common roll updating is way behind and we are allowing politicians or councillors to do the counting for us, what reliable numbers will he hold the common roll figures against to determine if they are accurate? Mr. Speaker, there is reasonable fear that we are headed for troubled times ahead because there is a failure in the basic legal requirement to hold the national census.
In his opening reply, the Prime Minister admitted the hiccups faced by the agency responsible for this census exercise. He also blamed COVID-19 and other factors.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, he is correct to point that what was required by law for us to conduct our census in 2020 was not held. A couple of reasons why 2020 census was not possible. He would be very familiar with the both COVID-19 as well as the March of 2020 that was taken in the politics and the power play in politics. Sometimes this sort of thing derails the big picture, big program, government programs that we would be engaged upon.
Adding on, PM Marape said the Electoral Commission is doing its best to update the common roll. He said ward councillors will be working closely with authorities. The Prime Minister says previous census stats and other information will be used during the election.
And based on the growth rate of an average of 3%, 3.1, 3.2, the Electoral Commission will be guided to know this is the range of population growth he should be dealing with in as far as the update to population common roll is concerned. Let me also, everyone in this Parliament and throughout our country, we are very, very conscious of the need to have good data and good roll update to ensure the integrity of the election process has a high standard.
The last census exercise carried out successfully was in 2011. Jack Lopava Jr., National EMTV News.
An elite in Kutubu Southern Highlands province is calling on the Intergovernment Relations Minister to issue a notice for the election and appointment of new members of the Special Purpose Authority. Alan Ricks said the term of the current Kutubu SPA board members has lapsed. He said all other processes have been completed and next is the release of a letter of notice by Minister Pila Niningi.
We have Kutubu Local Level Government, which is one of the nominating authority. We have Namapro Landowner Association. We have Fukiki Landowner Association. We have the Abafoy PDL2 Landowner Association. We'd like to call upon the minister that the SPA has not, we have not had a board since June 26, 2020. And many of our programs and projects have been affected. And we would like the minister to release the letter of notice so that we will have the nominees appointed and a new board established. So our good minister, the Department of Provincial Local Government Affairs has done its process. Now it is on your desk. You have to release that letter so that we can have access to services. We cannot be marginalized on many of these things. We see that the funding government has allocated funds, and the funds are sitting in finance, in national planning, and those funds are meant for delivery of services.
Family members and relatives of a youth shot and killed in front of his home are calling for the arrest of the police officers responsible. Relatives allege that police shot the youth on his abdomen and left him to die. He was rushed to the Kimbe General Hospital by relatives but later died.
Yesterday, the community at Kimbe's Section 10 demanded for the police command to arrest the police officers involved in the alleged killing of Robin Nassar. Frustrated relatives demanded for a quick action. This happened just before the body of young Robin was taken to the morgue. Eyewitness and brother retells the last moments before his small brother was shot. The brother of the deceased says after shots were fired, police drove away despite the family calling for help and also to conduct a search on the victims for a rifle. The police then drove away and sent an ambulance to rescue the victim. The brother says he died later because of the wounds incurred by the bullet. The acting Kimbe police station commander attended to Section 10 community to hear the plight. He says action will be taken and says no one is above the law. In a recent interview with Governor Sasindran Muthuval, he said law and order has spiraled out of control. He also said more police is needed.
The police numbers are always outnumbered. Time multiple incidents happens, people are finding hard law, attend law this issue. Natu current police barracks, I stop close to, stop law, clear from 80 or 100 kilometers, 80 kilometers away from Kimbe town. Hard law, time big issue or challenge, come up the town. All this mobile squad line, hard law by Kamna respond.
Kimbe police are yet to make a statement regarding the alleged shooting of Robin Nassar and whether officers responsible have been arrested or not. Jack Power Jr., National MTV News.
You're watching National MTV News. When we come back, Tribal Foundation PNG's view on the government's efforts in combating sorcery accusation-related violence. That story plus more after the break. Welcome back to the news. It is estimated that about 500 to 700 cases of sorcery-related violence occur annually but are unreported. That is according to the Tribal Foundation PNG, an NGO that is in the forefront of helping victims and survivors of sorcery-related violence. They say while the government has set up and repealed legislations in Parliament on the issue of sorcery-related violence and even setting up a special parliamentary committee on gender-based violence, implementation is lacking.
A special parliamentary committee on gender-based violence was established in 2020 by the National Parliament with a broad mandate to inquire into issues related to GBV and to report back to Parliament. In the latest sorcery-related attacks on women, a number of women were tortured and some even killed, revealed in a horrifying video. Non-government organizations and concerned citizens are saying the government is not doing enough to combat sub- or sorcery-related violence in the country. Tribal Foundation CEO Gary Buston was part of the first annual summit on ending GBV in Papua New Guinea.
I appreciate this plan. Our good plan man, all staff legislative committee, all members of Parliament, Governor Bird and good plan man, Governor Jufa. Some good plan money stop inside this plan, but government them give him lick money tasol na lick side talk tasol.
Bustin says the government is not serious about combating sub- or sorcery-related violence.
So you asking me, suppose only working enough? I'm all play nothing. All me like show him all, oh, you look him this video, or cut him this Mary, put him iron, say, no, me let's look, me let's look. Okay, why now you know walk him and stop him? No, me play hold him for him. All glass money no say go for him. All stop lo bush. You like stop him, okay, you go lo bush now, you hold him all na rousing and put him lo calabush. Emba stop him.
Adding an estimated 500 to 700 cases of sorcery-related violence are unreported.
Na misa bel hat lo stop because me pla how much pla Mary all by torture him na bagrap him lifelong all na me pla all NGO na me pla tasol planti me pla hard work lo try lo kiss him all na put him lifelong all straight him lifelong all again na body blow all too na sambla me pla no nap na all die planti one me pla estimate of 500 to 700 lo one bla year. Plenty you know harem.
Calling on the government to put the money where their mouth is.
Suppose me plus serious, me plus by putting budget. Now me plus by walking walk, but me plus mousewara.
Kilawani National MTV News.
Vanilla farmers and exporters in East Sepik province have agreed to ban the sale of green beans. They say the sale of green beans has been affecting the quality and contributing to many rejects or low-grade vanilla.
To initiate the process of improving vanilla quality, the PNG Spice Industry Board will be putting a ban on all sale of vanilla green beans. In a recent meeting with vanilla farmers and exporters in Maprik town, all have unanimously agreed to ban the sale of green beans.
If they're harvesting unripe green beans, they will be contributing to the low quality beans that we are now exporting out of this country. And that is the reason why, as we have had consultative meeting, there's a unanimous decision across the farmers in Maprik, in Dregike, all the way down to Yanguru and Wewak for the ban of the green bean sales in the country. And the Spice Board will take that on board so that we protect our quality.
Other measures will include partnerships with European Union to set up a control facility.
And European Union will fund these three things: the building of the office of the Spice Industry Board here in East Sepik, review of the Act, they will fund it, and at the same time build the vanilla extraction lab in the Subic province.
Once quality has been verified by the board, farmers will be in a better position to ask for better price. At the moment, vanilla is selling at these prices on the street market.
Brown bean osem, mibla baim now long 40 kina. So bosem select brown niglit, and mibla buy team now lo 50, 60 kina. So good bla customer lo isibik, you bla producing good bla vanilla, karegam, but good bla mo you bla karim tri-bean. So quality tri-bean mibla baim lo 180, lo 1 bla kilo. Kutri check mibla baiti lo 170, lo 1 bla kilo. Okay, all wet bagarap try recheck ogoda, all kind of recheck osem, mibla baiti lo 110 and 120.
Cooperative societies that have successfully found a genuine market and are exporting vanilla to the European and US market are still not getting the world price due to the absence of an organic certification.
So iksim good direct price lo world market papindo iksim. Na mibla local exporters no gat. Because only payment mibla ni long all extraction grade. Maski mi quality beans mibla salim pas because of organic certification mibla no gatim organic certificate only pay mibla ni long extraction or only low quality.
The Spice Industry Board has a huge task in assisting these farmers restore quality and finding a market that will purchase high-grade vanilla beans at the current price of $250 or 800 kina per kilo. Shaman Poreambeb, National EMTV News.
Recent research data from the PNG National Research Institute show some weak areas in Papua New Guinea's agriculture sector remain and need urgent attention and support. In expressing some concerns for farmers in the country this week, Chairman of the PNG NRI Council, Wilson Thompson, said one of the notable areas of concern is the decline in production for the country's major commodities.
Agriculture, there have been a lot of papers that have come out recently and looking at coffee production. What has happened is that coffee production is going down. Like in 1975, we used to have 1 million bags of coffee that used to be produced. And it used to be produced by only 5 or 6 provinces. And we had a population of 2 million people. But now, we have 10 million people, and we've got coffee grown in almost 16 provinces. But the production is not even 1 million. It's gone down to 800,000 was in 2020, and then in 2020 it has gone down to 600,000 bags. So that's a very big downfall. So these are the kind of things. So what we need is real data that must come out from the commodity boards, saying that, well, we got 100 million kina that was put into the coffee or into the cocoa. But where is that production? What happened to all that money? Where did it go? So we've got a very big gap that needs to be addressed. And that's what we've got a couple of publications coming out. We'll be having a seminar in Goroka shortly of one of the findings one of our researchers did at NRI. CIC is saying that you put groups, and with number of groups you will get production output. And what NRI said is that it's not necessarily the size of the group. It's the quality of the group or the person. You can have 10 people in a group, but if they put more work or if you give them the right materials, they can get 100 bags. So that's a recent NRI study, and there's another recent one done by Dr. Ejin Ezebilo looking at Venezuela and other places, saying that they're putting more money into inputs, like you put money into fertilizers, you put money into chemicals, and you get the outputs. So these are some areas that NRI worked on. So
16 BSP branches throughout the country will be opened for half a day starting today for school fee deposits. This service, aimed at reducing long queues, includes applications for personal loans for back-to-school related banking. This extended service will continue for the next 6 Saturdays until the 26th of February. These 16 branches include Alotau, Goroka, Kimbe, Kiunga, Popondetta, Tari and Buka. BSP's Deputy General Manager for Retail, Sales and Customer Service Delivery, Peter Common, says parents who are unable to pay school fees during the weekdays can do so during the Saturdays. Acquittals for DSIP funds for Mosby South electorate have been presented to the Office of Rural Development and Implementation. These acquittals cover a 5-year period from 2017 right through to 2021. Tekla Jogo with more.
Mosby South electorate is located in the National Capital District and is considered to have a high development rate compared to Mosby Northeast and Mosby Northwest electorates. The acquittals presented to the DIRD captures how close to 50 million kina DSIP funds was spent for the years 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020 and 2021.
All the documents are acquitted already, and this now leaves me satisfied that I've done the right thing for the benefit of the people of Mosby South. We've acquitted and made sure all your funds are spent correctly and properly for the benefit of the electorate and the community. And we look forward to continuing that in the years ahead.
Mosby South electorate has seen various infrastructural developments since 2012, from education and sporting facilities to income-generating avenues like the building of markets and water and sanitation improvements through the urbanization programs. However, the level of investments cannot be measured or compared to development investments in other districts, simply because of the geographical locations of these districts and the cost involved in bringing basic government services to these districts.
I appeal also to all of them. The time has caught up with us now, and it's the time to provide reports. So we would like to know, and the government would like to know, the performance of all the districts and all the provinces, whether you have delivered over 5 years or not. We need those reports. We are developing a system to capture these reports. So we need the reports to come in from 17 to 2021. I know 2022 is, we are now in 2022, and there is no time for any one of our members of parliament. Administratively, we take charge of these reports, and once you submit your reports, you are free.
With the 2022 national elections 3 months away from now, local MP Justin Chechenko says there are several outstanding projects that are desired to be completed before the start of the election. Tekla Jogo, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. Trukai Sports is next. We'll bring you details of the 6-decade tradition of the Queen's Baton Relay and its journey to PNG in preparation for the Commonwealth Games. Details after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. With just 5 more days and the Birmingham 2022 Queen's Baton Relay will arrive on the shores of PNG. Papua New Guinea, as part of the Commonwealth nations, will be the 31st destination out of 72 countries to receive the Queen's Baton on 29th of January 2022. The Queen's Baton Relay has been a tradition for the Commonwealth Games since it first appeared at the Cardiff 1958 Commonwealth Games.
The Birmingham 2022 Queen's Baton Relay contains a message from Her Majesty the Queen, which will travel around 72 Commonwealth nations for 294 days until its arrival back in England on July 28, where the message will then be removed and read aloud to officially start the 2022 Commonwealth Games. Returning from Brunei, it is said to arrive in Papua New Guinea on the 29th of January 2022. This will be the 5th visit of the Queen's Baton to Papua New Guinea, and it will be hosted in East Sepik province.
And how privileged we are that you have chosen our home to be the destination for the baton relay, and in fact so that we could be ambassadors for all of Papua New Guinea. The civic people will be delighted to hear this surprise message, and the fact that there will be television coverage and those sorts of things to sort of showcase the province is actually quite welcome for us. We don't take this privilege lightly, and so we'll be pulling out all the stops to make sure that it's a successful event and that it gives credit to your committee and of course to Papua New Guinea. And I want to say to the people of Papua New Guinea that the civic people will be very proud hosts, and we won't let you down. Thank you very much, Sir John.
During its time here, the Queen's Baton will visit notable places in the host province as well as Port Moresby in order to showcase our unique Melanesian ways. Hundreds of Papua New Guineans in East Sepik and Port Moresby will be given the opportunity to be baton bearers during its 4-day stay in the country. The Governor-General Grand Chief Sir Bob Dadai will receive the Queen's Baton on the 31st of January before its departure on the 1st of February for Honiara, Solomon Islands.
So they have 2 days of activation to have the Queen's Baton relay in East Sepik province. And then the 31st fly back to Port Moresby and out to Honiara on the 1st of February. So we're the first country in Oceania to be receiving it coming from Brunei. Yeah. So it's just finishing, it's now doing its relay through Asia, the continent of Asia, and then we will be the first country in Oceania to receive it.
The Queen's Baton Relay is a games tradition that celebrates, connects, and excites communities from across Commonwealth during the build-up to the games. Mary Ronnie, Trukai Sports.
Organizers of the NCD Governors' Cup are taking all necessary steps to ensure that the tournament takes place while safeguarding the health and well-being of players and match officials.
With the ongoing concerns surrounding COVID-19, organizers of the NCD Governors' Cup have taken the necessary steps to comply with measures and restrictions relating to public gatherings. Tournament Director Simon Nuabu urged all players and clubs to cooperate with the protocols in place. This will allow for the successful hosting of the event.
Based on the approval, all players who will be participating in the tournament, including the officials and the tournament officials also, they all have to be vaccinated, or if they are not vaccinated, they have to get a test 72 hours before the tournament kicks off. The controllers called and advised us that we might not host a tournament on February next month. That's why we are collecting the registration early so that we can do more awareness to prepare the teams for the tournament. We can do, they can do the medical check, and also we can do the aggregation cards. And we want to organize things in an orderly manner. So, this Governors' Cup tournament should be a role model of how to organize a public event.
Bava Park Oval 1 and 2 will be the venues for the group matches and the preliminary finals, while the grand final for the men's and women's divisions will take place at the Sejongai Stadium. Spectators will not be allowed at the group matches. However, organizers will seek approval to have fans present at the grand final.
We have no plans to suspend the tournament. We want to prepare the teams, and the tournament is an annual event. We will still host the tournament, and we already confirmed the venue, and we are well prepared. And we are here to host the tournament.
Huxley Lovai, Trukai Sports.
That ends Trukai Sports. The weather report is next. All the details after the break.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.